Good evening, everybody.
Hello, hello.
Welcome to another episode of Critique Corner with me, Daniel Parker.
And me, DB Fastbinder. And it's our tradition to do an annual retrospective on the various media we've consumed this year, which we did not coordinate this year because we didn't have a show last week to talk about it after. So,
Right.
which movies that we've watched should you give a try? Go watch the reviews, Skippy. There was a 4-month period where the YouTube algorithm was showing nothing to nobody. So go give them a watch.
Yes, indeed. Yeah. And if you you happen to be returning, welcome back. If you're new, what we do here is we critique stuff
From our corners.
From our corners. Yeah. We usually we will do something new or more contemporary with something older and classic. Although lately we've been kind of doing a thing where we'll do something older and classic, and then maybe do something that's extremely classic as part of like a kind of like a retrospective, or something that both of us have seen and that we want to go back and see. Well, was this movie as good as we remember it being, or was it as bad as we remember it being? In the case of 2009 Star Trek. But this week, and we also usually do like some solo reviews, which both of us have. But to start us off for this show, we are going to talk about The Fighter.
The Fighter, which is basically peak Mark Wahlberg casting.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
So this movie it's based on a true story, as it tells you very early on, based on the story of boxer Mickey Ward. To just read right off of IMDb, a fledgling boxer who tries to escape the shadow of his more famous but troubled older boxing brother and get his own shot at greatness.
Yes, and his older brother, Dickie, although Ward's not his last name, Dickie Eklund. He's played by Christian Bale. And of course, what I find funny is that Christian Bale is playing Mark Wahlberg's older brother, but Mark Wahlberg is actually 3 years older than Christian Bale.
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Yeah, and of course, rounding out the cast, we've got you have Amy Adams, who's playing Wahlberg's girlfriend. Somebody just got a text. And you also got Melissa Leo, who I don't know if I've ever seen her in anything before, but she plays their mom. And just a quick note, both Christian Bale and Melissa Leo won Oscars for their roles in this movie. Yeah. And hey, Ninja, good to see you.
Hey, man.
But yeah, so basically the as DB pointed out, the plot is Mickey is trying to make his own boxing career, and of course Dickie, he was famous because he knocked out Sugar Ray Leonard, who if you don't know who Sugar Ray Leonard is, he was one of the great what was he, lightweight boxer or middleweight boxer, he's one of the greatest boxers of all time. And of course that's like Dickie's one big claim to fame, but then after that his career fizzled out, and then he spirals into an hard addiction to crack cocaine,
which cocaine's a hell of a drug.
Yes, it is. And crack is even worse, as we saw in that Wesley Snipes movie. What was it? I can't remember the name of it. But yeah, and so basically the whole movie is Mickey trying to balance out the life, his family life and his boxing life, and then him kind of coming to the realization that his family, like his brother and his mom, aren't really doing him any favors in terms of his boxing career, so he has to make a shift. And that shift, of course, causes a lot of tension because he comes from the family's huge. I mean, it's you got all the
Right.
they have all these sisters. They got like 8 sisters, and they're all from like different dads, and it's a very mixed, blended family. And I had a hard time keeping track of like who was whose full sister, half sister, and all that.
Yeah. I would say it's largely irrelevant to enjoying the movie.
Yeah.
You just have to know big, messy family.
Yes. And with a lot of problems. Yeah.
And the real problem is that they're all kind of parasites off of whoever's boxing at the time because there's no sign of other income. Because they're
Right.
all just kind of
Exactly.
hanging out around their house in Boston.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. And but I mean, I would say that I think the main driver of this movie are the performances from the different actors, whether it's whether it's Wahlberg or Bale or Amy Adams or any of them. Um, that's I think kind of the big selling point of the movie, and also the of course, I mean it is kind of that old underdog story that we see a lot in sports movies and just with American culture in general.
Right. This is definitely chasing that Rocky high because
Yes,
it's just slightly different, rundown East Coast city, a slightly different accent.
yeah. Um, and yeah, the other thing too, the movie was directed by David O. Russell, who he's also done like he's actually done quite a few movies with Bale, like American Hustle, that Dick Cheney movie. What was the other one he did? Well, they got the John Madden movie that's coming out next year with Bale is playing Al Davis, who was the owner of the Oakland Raiders.
And Nicolas Cage as Madden
As
himself.
man, yeah, yeah. Which I mean, it looks like he's pulling that off pretty well.
Now, of course, Bale's there like, what, you didn't gain 100 pounds to play the role? Amateur.
Yeah,
Because Bale's kind of known for his transformations.
oh yeah,
So I'll admit that I haven't seen all that many Bale movies outside of his Batman work, which I have a complicated opinion on.
Yeah,
Um, but he was great in this one. Like the character he is basically playing like a washed up high school athlete who can't stop clinging to his former glory. It's like if Uncle Rico from what do you call it,
Napoleon Dynamite.
Napoleon Dynamite had ever actually accomplished something instead of just being a potential all those years.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
And I'm enough of a sweet summer child that in the scene where they're smoking stuff,
Yeah.
they had a cigarette they had a cigarette inside of that they were like putting inside of a
Water bottle.
water bottle, and I was like, oh, is he trying to stop it from from swelling up the place? Not realizing that was paraphernalia.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
but I need to look up the actual history that this is based on because there's one thing that keeps happening is that when Bale doesn't want his mom to know, like, or he's trying to get out the back of the building, he just drops down onto a pile of garbage that is always conveniently there.
Yeah.
And it's almost cartoon. Like, it happens at least twice. I think it's just twice, right?
Yeah, it happens twice. Yeah, and it's very cartoonish. Yeah.
Like he just gets up, like maybe like a little bit of a limp. And I just keep thinking to myself, okay, that probably happened once, but I can't see anybody surviving that repeatedly.
Yeah. 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 Or the other scene that got me was when he's Bale's outside of Amy Adams' apartment and he's hitting the buzzer to try to like so she'll let him in or talk to him. And she's just like cussing him out, and he keeps hitting the buzzer like in between cuss words.
Yeah, that was great.
Yeah.
Speaking of Amy Adams, dang, real
Mm.
glow up for this movie, as
Oh,
the
oh
kids would
yeah.
say.
Yes. Yeah.
The camera loves her in this one.
Hmm.
Okay, I'm not enough of a connoisseur of East Coast accents to know if it's actually good, but I found it a believable enough accent that she was pulling off, and it was she was a firecracker, like a lot of
Oh,
fun in this one.
oh yeah, she was. Yeah. I like her better in this than I did in the DC movies.
Oh, absolutely. Insofar as she
Yeah.
actually had a good script to work with.
Well, yeah.
And you said that Melissa Leo won an Academy Award for this one.
Yeah.
I can see why. That was she managed to portray somebody who just like a very manipulative woman who I think she believed that she would loved her son, was doing what was best for him, even as she was using him as a meal ticket.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, yeah, and of course the whole, her whole dynamic with Bale's character, where it's just like, she knows he has a problem, but she doesn't know, like, but she's like just in complete denial about it. Yeah.
Right? Which, it's hard for a mother to understand what's going on, like, or to fully understand, like, that their kid is as bad as it seems.
Yeah.
Like, because they just want to see their special little guy. Like, I know somebody who indirectly know somebody who has like a, I want to say 17-year-old kid with Down syndrome, and apparently she will occasionally just refer to well, when he moves out and he'll need his own car at some point, and it's like he's nonverbal. Like that's
Yeah.
like you want to think that he's going to go on and do that stuff, but it's not realistic.
Yeah.
So it's just a similar sort of blind spot here.
Yeah. And yeah, and Ninja, it takes place in Lowell, Massachusetts, and I don't know where that is. I'm assuming it's near Boston.
Massachusetts isn't that big of a state, so it's a reasonable guess, depending on your definition of near.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, and the other part of it too is, there's the beginning of the movie. There's a documentary crew that's filming, that's following Dickie around, and he tells everybody that, oh, they're filming me because I'm getting ready to make my comeback, and and they're following me around for that. And then you find out that, well, no, it's they're following him around because they want to show the dangers of crack addiction.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's rough.
Yeah.
Kirby, we kind of dismissed Mark Wahlberg's performance earlier. There's a reason that he didn't win the Academy Award for this. That is just that he is not the world's greatest actor. Like, sometimes you can get a really nice performance out of him, like out of that, what was it, Four Sons, Three Kings? What was it?
Yeah, Four Sons. Yeah.
Was it really called Four Sons? That
Yeah, where they in Detroit, where they're like, yeah, they're avenging their foster mom. Yeah. Or was it? Yeah, I think it was called Four Sons.
That doesn't. There's a World War II era movie called Four Sons.
It was for something. Let me look here real quick.
Oh, Four Brothers. That's it.
Four Brothers. That's, yeah, okay.
Sometimes you get like a nice performance like that, where it's just very well suited to the movie. Sometimes you get The Happening, which, to be fair, nobody could have made those lines sound better. But
what? No,
you're eyeing my lemon drink.
Ninja says Lowell is north of Boston, okay, near Lexington and Concord.
Okay, so it's the same way that if I told someone where I was from, I would just say Seattle to avoid a headache of, what's a Redmond?
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyhow, now this is like so he's like one of those actors where you aren't going to get a Shakespearean performance out of him, or especially nuanced performance out of him. But if you put him in the right role, he will sing. And this is Symphony.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah.
Perfectly within his range. You feel for him. You believe that he is. You can believe that he is a good fighter. You can believe that he's feeling what he's feeling. He can communicate the complicated emotions because basically he's from an extremely abusive background when you get down to it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah. The word toxic comes to mind.
And so, and it is basically about like the movie is true to like the feelings that people have when they come from those sorts of backgrounds where it's like, well, on the one hand, I know that they did me wrong, but on the other hand, I love them and I want them to be around. So it's just very strange.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I can understand that. Yeah. Um, but yeah, I mean, I would definitely recommend this movie. It's currently on Paramount Plus.
Yep. Uh, and is there any other thoughts? Anything else that was interesting? Nope. Nope. That about covers it, I think. It's just a solid. Okay. What I will say is that it's a bit like the Iron Claw, except that you won't feel like slitting your wrists afterwards.
Yes. Yes, it's not nearly as depressing as that movie.
In fact, I was kind of expecting things to go a bit darker than they actually did.
Yeah, I was too. Yeah, yeah.
Like there was a character where I said, "Oh, they're going to just die in the third act to like add some pathos to whatever last fight Wahlberg is in," but nope.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so in one of our reviews for this week, we're going to be talking about whether a well-beloved movie qualifies as a Christmas movie. But before we get into that, just a quick thought or set of thoughts on this one, a Charlie Brown Christmas. So I ended up rewatching this with the family on Christmas Eve, and there's always a couple of things that surprise me every time I see one of these Charlie Brown specials as an adult. First off, is that on streaming, it's kind of startling just how short these things are.
Yeah, they're only like 20 something minutes, I think.
Right. It always seemed longer, but that's because as a kid, not time to date myself, we had VHS recordings of TV specials or TV recordings. Yeah. So they had I can remember some of the commercials from our copy of Charlie Brown Christmas.
Yeah.
Which added to the runtime.
Yeah.
But also, like as a movie, it doesn't necessarily have all that much, all that many twists as a movie. As a special, it doesn't have all that many twists and turns. Yeah. It's actually a very straightforward story.
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. It was they're putting on a Christmas play, right?
Right. So basically, Charlie Brown is having a case of seasonal depression. His woefully overpaid psychiatrist Lucy recommends that he get involved with the community, and she basically tricks him into being the director of their Christmas play.
Yeah.
And then, as always happens with Charlie Brown, things go out of control. Nobody listens to him or respects him. But darn it, if they aren't going to hold it against him if things go wrong.
Yeah.
And this is kind of like, I think this might have been the first, I don't know if this was the first Christmas special, but it was one of the first ones that seemed to be hang its hat on what is Christmas all about.
Yeah.
And you do have like a Linus giving a long Bible reading at the end to just kind of emphasize the reason for the season.
Yeah, he recites from the Gospel of Luke, which the network wanted to pull it, but Charles Schultz was insistent that it stay in,
and he was right.
Yeah, and actually, if you watch closely, when Linus is reciting the passage, he drops his blanket.
Oh, because he doesn't need the security. I hadn't noticed that.
Yeah.
Very subtle.
Yeah. Ninja says it was the first Charlie Brown special. Okay.
Right. First Charlie Brown special. One thing that kind of always added to the it makes it for slightly worse performances in places, but it also adds to the authenticity of it is that the Charlie Brown specials are always voiced by actual children.
Mm.
So, you know, some performances are kind of stilted, but it adds to the charm of it.
Yeah.
I also am always astounded when I realize that the sounds that Snoopy was making were coming out of a human person's throat. Because it doesn't even sound like a dog. It sounds like some sort of bird, I always thought.
Yeah, it's like a yeah.
Also, 1960s television animation, it was crude looking. Lots of repeats. Not the cleanest animation in the world, but it is a faithful recreation of what the Peanuts comics were like, down to the art style, down to the writing, because there's so many great lines in this one. Like, I never really get what I want for Christmas. What's that? Real estate. Or Sally asking for her Christmas gifts in 10s and 20s, which, you know, 1960s dollars.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that's pretty, considering that depending on your year in the 60s, either 10 cents, 12 cents, or 25 cents would get you a comic book.
Yeah. Yeah. Oof.
That's kind of insane.
Yeah.
But I don't really have any deeper thoughts about this aside from if for some reason you haven't actually watched this, it's on Apple TV. If you have, it's still worth the occasional rewatch just to it's interesting watching something made so simply and I'm going to presume so cheaply that can still like hit you in the heartstrings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I think this thing's possibly its greater contribution to popular culture than helping to solidify the whole Christmas special as a phenomenon.
Yeah.
Is the jazz soundtrack for it.
Oh.
Like it is, it's really a tour de force by who did that?
So
Vince,
yeah.
Vince Guaraldi.
That sounds familiar.
I'm not sure what else he did, but he's the one who came with the da 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 da. Yeah, so yeah, if you've ever watched anything Peanuts related, you've heard his music, and if you've just walked around a store at Christmas time, you probably have heard his music.
Yeah. Oh, Ninja's saying Sony owns Peanuts. Yeah, I heard about that.
Honestly, there's worse owners. I mean, when you think about it, Sony's kind of been cornering a lot of the animation industry lately between K-pop Demon Hunters, the Spider-Verse movies,
even
big,
Garfield.
Garfield, big chunks of anime industry.
Yeah.
They seem to be doing an okay job as stewards of animation so far, but we all know that can turn toxic. So.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Hopefully the Schultz estate doesn't get greedy. I recall that they had the Illumination Peanut special or Peanuts movie a while back.
Right.
And one of the stipulations of it was that they got a lot of creative control and they were not interested in making sequels. They just wanted a one-off kind of jolt in the arm for the franchise.
Yeah, and I think it did decently, didn't it, at the box office?
Yeah, like it wasn't like $1 billion movie or anything, but I think it did pretty well for itself.
Yeah. I never saw it, so I don't really know. I can't comment on the quality, but
yeah, they did a similar sort of. I think they did one the same style for Apple TV Plus when it first started. Like it was like a half-hour special about Sally, I want to say. And I watched about 10 minutes of it, and I said, "No, this is like strictly for kids." Which isn't a knock against it necessarily. It's just, although I will say that Peanuts is usually pretty good about having a bit more edge to it than that. But
yeah.
But on the other hand, you can have a bit too much edge. Because Daniel just finished the final season. Now, this is the final season of Stranger Things and the final set of episodes, right?
Yeah, so it was episodes 5, 6, and 7, and then the series finale I think drops on Wednesday. So yeah, so we still got one more left. But given how the last these previous new 3 episodes went, I'm not holding out a whole lot of hope for the finale.
Oh, so the fight isn't over yet.
No, it's not over yet. No, they left it where well, I'll get to it in a sec, but yeah, so episode 5 picks up where 4 left off. You've got all the different groups of people are all spread out everywhere. You've one of them is, so you got like Hopper and Elle are still in the Upside Down, and they find, okay, the previous episode ended where they find one of the other kids that Elle was with that was being experimented on in the about all the way back in the first season. They find one of the girls in there, and this girl, by the way, was only in one. Her name's Callie. She was only in one episode in season 2, and it was the one episode everybody hated. Like, okay, that's a choice. And so they find out that that they were taking her blood because the U.S. military is trying to make more kids with psionic powers. And we also find out that the general who is in charge of the whole military operation in the Upside Down was played by Linda Hamilton. She basically wants to use all of the monsters from the Upside Down as weapons against the Soviets, because this is the Cold War.
And that is just, I know you described that to like last time you did some your thoughts on this season, but
Yeah.
that is just so hilarious to me that basically they stole the storyline from Jurassic World.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, speaking of Jurassic Park, they ripped off the raptor chase from Jurassic Park, where they were chasing them through the galley and everything. They did the exact same thing with the Demogorgons in I think it was in episode 6. But yeah, so then then you have this other group that's in the Upside Down, and it's three of the teenagers, older teenagers, and then which is Steve. See, here's the problem with this show: there's too many damn characters to keep track of, and trying to remember their names. But I will say, like 2 of these characters are actually like probably my 2. Like, I like their like Steve and Dustin. Like, I like the dynamic between those 2. And if there ever is another Stranger Things TV show, or if they do like a spinoff, I would really hope that it would be with those 2, because they're the only ones who have any like good dynamic between the 2 of them. But so the 2 of them, it's the 2 of them, and then Jonathan and Nancy. And Jonathan and Nancy are like they have this on again, off again romance. I don't know if I mentioned it in my previous review, but Jonathan was actually planning on proposing to Nancy. And so they're in there, and then you've got the people on the outside, because the big baddie, Vecna. At the end of the previous episode, they were trying to keep all these kids away from Vecna, because Vecna needs these kids, because he basically creates this hive mind with all these other kids, and he's going to essentially bring hell on earth, is what he's doing. That's basically his ultimate plan. And there you've got all these different like plot threads going, and one of the things, and I think I mentioned it before, but like Nancy and Mike. Nancy and Mike's younger sister Holly is like basically the main character in this season. Like most of the story revolves around her, because she's one of the kids who was kidnapped by Vecna. And throughout most of the show, she was basically a background character. Like, I mean, I even forgot that they had a younger sister until this season. That's how like insignificant she was. Yeah, and then of course, and then Holly meets up with Max, who's the red-haired girl, and she's been in a coma for the last year or so. But she's stuck in Vecna's mind, but her body's in a hospital bed, and like the whole like so okay, so the main problem with this season, and a lot of people have talked about it, is like, so all the episodes clock in over an hour, and most of the time the characters are doing these therapy sessions with each other where they're sitting around where they're talking about their feelings.
Oh, right. It's like the world is falling apart, but let's talk about feelings.
Yeah. Like there's this whole like real stupid scene with Jonathan and Nancy where they basically break up, and it's this, and all the while they're stuck in a room, by the way, that's slowly flooding with this like the building around them is being basically liquefied, and this goo is rising up on them, and while the goo is rising up on them, they have this little therapy session that's like where they're talking about their feelings, and it's like, oh, come on. And then and not just them, but you have like there although the only one that actually worked at, and again going back to Steve and Dustin, that's the only one that actually works, because they they blow up at each other, and then they have a little fight, they have this tussle, which is like, that's how men or boys, how they work through their feelings. It's just they hit each other and wrestle around, and then a little bit not long after, they're laughing about it and drinking a beer, or Coke in their case. But then you have like all these other stuff, like there's a scene where like Max is talking to Holly, and they're in this part of the upside down, and the portals back to their minds open up, and they're like, and then Max has to have this little therapy session with Holly to try to get her to be like, it's okay, you're braver than you think, and because Holly's like, oh, I didn't do anything when her, she didn't do anything when her mom got attacked by the Demogorgon, and she didn't do anything when Vecna attacked Max earlier, and it's like, oh, they spend like 5 minutes on this, and all the while, like the portal to their minds is open, and of course in Max's case, the people who are helping her are being attacked by Demogorgons. Like, get your ass moving.
Like that seems like the type of moment to have earlier in the season, or to not have at all.
Yeah.
Okay, so there are a couple of traits with a lot of Hollywood writing that I've noticed. I feel like, okay, this is going to sound dumb or bad, but yeah, I feel like therapy has ruined a lot of people.
Yeah.
Or maybe the expectation that therapy is a default for everybody has ruined some writers, I guess is the better way to put it.
Yeah.
Because like there are storylines that are built on like a character overcoming a block or something like that. But an action story like this, or at least what is presumably an action story, I haven't seen very much of Stranger Things, I'll admit.
Yeah, it basically is, yeah.
Or maybe an adventure story would be a better way to put it.
Yeah.
Like, there are times where it does make sense to have characters talk about their feelings. Like even Die Hard is going to have that when we talk about it in a minute.
Yeah.
But you don't dwell on it that long, and yeah, it just sounds, I mean, just everything I've heard about the last few seasons of Stranger Things has made it kind of sound like the writers didn't know what they had, and they kind of turned it into their own therapy session, as is the want of our writer generation.
Oh yeah. They didn't have a plan for this show, I don't think, beyond the first season. And I felt like I was watching Star Trek Discovery. with them talking about their feelings all the time. And but to I guess to kind of wrap up my review, I will talk about the screenshot here, the elephant in the room. Um, so at the end of episode 7, just as they're about to go off to save the world, because this is a world we're talking about an apocalyptic world-ending event that they're trying to prevent. Will Byers, who has been a mainstay through the show, he was the kid in the first season who got abducted and was in the Upside Down, and he's had this connection with everything in the supernatural world for the last, the run of the show since then. He decides that he needs to bring everybody together to have a little talk, and it's the scene, and then he comes out of the closet, which is it's not entirely unexpected for him to do, because they were hinting at it in season 4. They about him being gay, and of course he's got a crush on Mike. Although Mike is not gay, and he and Elle are a thing. But it's just the scene itself is, a lot of people have said it's just ham-fisted, and it is. It just, from a storytelling narrative perspective, it's bad, because the story and the plot and everything grinds to a halt so that we can have this 10-minute scene of this kid coming out of the closet.
Right, which for the writers, that's probably like the thing they've been building up to, but it sounds like, and it's, I guess the temptation is to put too much sauce on, if you will.
Yeah. Well, apparently it took them 12 hours to film this scene.
Jesus Cristo.
Yeah, and the actor, I can't remember what's the actress who plays Will, Noah Schnapp. He had to recite these lines every single time, and they filmed each actor's reactions to what he's saying, and it's like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, they put more thought into this one scene than they did the entire season of the show. Like, it's just like, okay, where are your priorities here, people? And Ninja says, why not have it earlier or be part of the final minutes of the show? The format can be part. Good question, Ninja. That's a great idea. I wish they had done that, but no, they had to turn it into an after school special.
Yeah.
But these last 3 episodes were definitely a huge step back. I will say the first 4 episodes were decent enough. Like, there were, I had some issues with it here and there, but like these last 3 episodes have just been ugh. And like I said, I'm hopeful that the finale will be good. I'll talk about that next week. But yeah, that's the.
You're kind of just in it for completion at this point.
Basically, yeah. Because I've been watching it from the beginning, so yeah. What's one more episode?
Oh. Indeed. Well, let's go watch something good. We'll talk about something good. Die Hard.
Die Hard.
So there are certain online debates that are had just for the sake of having something to argue about. Does pineapple belong on pizza? Is a taco a sandwich? Which it depends on your definition of taco, or excuse me, it depends on your definition of sandwich. for my mind, it's not a sandwich if you have one single piece of carb to wrap it in.
Mm.
It's like a wrap would not be a sandwich, and neither would a open-faced sandwich.
Yes. Yeah.
But and it's like it's funny when you have these, or is cereal a soup? That type of thing.
I've never heard that one.
It's very stupid.
Yeah.
Because what you best end up doing is you end up chasing each other in circles because neither of you can agree to a definition because they don't teach rhetoric or logic anymore.
Right.
One of those debates is Die Hard a Christmas movie? And I went into this one thinking it wasn't, and I still think it wasn't.
Yeah, I don't think it is either. It is a movie that takes place during Christmas, but it is not itself a Christmas movie. It's not about the holiday.
As much as I am sitting here on IMDb, they're advertising the 5-disc collection where they try to sell it as a Christmas movie.
And only the first 2 movies take place at Christmas. The rest of them don't. Yeah.
So, and you might go like, well, what's your definition of that? Because again, like I say, you can just chase yourself in circles if you don't have a common definition. Our definition of a Christmas movie is something like a Charlie Brown Christmas, where the Christmas season is itself a key part of the theme, and you could not make the movie without that. So, just for example, Charlie Brown Christmas, it's a Christmas time movie. Charlie Brown is being the director of a Christmas play, and specifically, they get a wimpy Christmas tree, and they read from the Gospel of Luke, specifically about the birth of Christ. So it's like it is a Christmas movie, possibly the example of a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
It's also, if the movie actually has Santa Claus in it, it's usually a Christmas movie. You can't have a non-Christmas movie with Santa Claus like that DreamWorks Guardians movie.
Yeah.
And what I would say is that with Die Hard, if you just had a different reason that they were having a party and the building was cleared out, that is like the one mechanical advantage you have of Christmas. Actually, two mechanical advantages of Christmas. First mechanical advantage of it being Christmas from a writing perspective is it makes sense why the building is completely cleared out that day, because only that one company is still having a party.
Yeah.
The second mechanical advantage of Christmas is it's an excuse to have Bruce Willis show up to see his estranged wife.
Right. Yeah. And I would argue that, like, so the other thing too, the party was kind of a double party. There's a line of dialogue in there where they talk about how, like, oh, they just closed this big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you could have them having a party to celebrate them closing out this deal. And,
right.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be entirely unrealistic for a huge company like that to own the whole tower.
Right. Yeah. And if you're looking for like a reason for like Bruce Willis to show up, I mean, you could have like, maybe like, oh, I finally got time off from, from his job, and, he's got a couple of days. And so why don't I fly out to California to see my wife and kids?
Right. Or for that matter, his wife is finally threatening to move forward with the divorce, or with a divorce, since they've been living apart for so long. Yeah. And so he's shown up to try and deal with things.
Yeah.
It occurs to me, though, anyways, that's why we say that this is not a Christmas movie. Now, if your definition of a Christmas movie is that Christmas themes can be as vague as having family connections and taking place at Christmas, I can't stop you from having that definition, just not the one that we're operating off of after we've had some discussions about it before.
Yeah. And I'm well aware too that we're kind of in a minority opinion on this. That because I think I heard somewhere that there was a poll was like 73% of people think that Die Hard is a Christmas movie. So
The schools have failed us.
yes. But yeah, you could come up with different ways to make the plot work and not have it be set at Christmas. Which, of course, the plot of the movie is that Bruce Willis plays John McClane. He's a New York City detective, and he goes to L.A. Because that's where his wife and kids live, because they moved out there. She got this big job with this Japanese company. And of course, he couldn't move out there with him because, he's still got a bunch of open cases that he's got to close before he can do anything, which has caused tension in the marriage. And there's because there's a little scene in there before all the action goes down where they have an argument because she's using her maiden name and instead of the married name. An interesting little bit of trivia. So the first writer on the movie, his name was Jeb Stewart, and he came up with the idea for this because
did he have the idea in between campaigns during the Civil War? Now imagine an enormous building that scrapes the sky, and there's a bunch of Japanese who own it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sorry, couldn't resist.
That's all right. And it just says he's in the camp that he thinks it's a Christmas movie, but mostly for the laughs. Real Christmas films are about Jesus' birth, and it's okay. I respect that. But yeah, so he came up with the idea because he was trying to adapt. So the movie's actually based on a novel. A lot of people probably don't know this. It was based on a novel called Nothing Lasts Forever. It was actually a sequel to another book called The Detective that they made into a movie with Frank Sinatra. And when they were getting ready to make this into Nothing Lasts Forever into a movie, they asked the writer, okay, well, he to adapt it into a movie. He couldn't figure it out, and then one night he gets into an argument with his wife. And he storms out of the house. He gets in his car and drives off. And then as soon as he hits the freeway, he realizes he was right. He's wrong. His wife was right, and he has to find a way to apologize to her. And as he's driving down the freeway, he sees a refrigerator box that's in the middle of the lane, and he doesn't have time to swerve around it or stop. So he's thinking, okay, I'm gonna die. I'm about to die hitting this refrigerator box going, 65 miles an hour. But thankfully the box was empty. And yeah, so he, but then that's where he got the idea to figure it out, because for how he could figure out the problem that he was having is that he changed it from, the main character being a 60 something guy trying to reconcile with his 40 something daughter. Instead, it's a 30-something guy trying to apologize to his wife because bad stuff happens. And so that whole scene was in there was because they have a fight, and then then Hans Gruber and his gang show up and take hostages and everything, and of course he's got to try to figure out how to how to save the day, and that's basically the plot of Die Hard, and you have a lot of explosions and a lot of gunfights, and great one-liners, and great bad guy in Hans Gruber, played by the late Alan Rickman, in his first movie.
Oh, was it his first? Okay.
It was his first movie, yeah.
Yeah, and he is so great in this one. There's a reason that this movie has been, actually, I'd say basically I have no notes for this movie in terms of things I would actually try to improve. Because it's basically perfect for what it's trying to do. Like, villain's great because by the way, we are going to assume that the fact that we started off with a debate about the Christmasosity of this movie, rather than necessarily going into the plot too much, kind of implies that we are assuming you have seen this movie.
Yes. Yeah, I'm not worried about spoiling a almost 40-year-old movie.
A 40-year-old movie that everybody basically already knows about.
Yeah.
Anyways, Hans Gruber is a perfect villain. So apparently, originally he was going to be a terrorist until someone said that's a little too heavy, so they turned him into a bank robber. But he still kind of pretends that he has political reasons for what he's doing just to throw people off.
Yeah.
So he's just like a complete scumbag. Like he's very quick. He's very quick to pivot. He's a coward, but he just has this dignity to him that he doesn't really deserve.
Yeah. Yeah. Snape's first film ends with his first death. Yeah. Yeah, and actually the funny thing about that death scene when they drop him off, when he gets dropped off the building, Alan Rickman actually did that scene. They didn't use a stunt double, and the way they did it was they harnessed him up, and then they had him on the side of the building, and the stunt people were like, "Okay, Alan, we're gonna let you go on 3," and then he goes to the other one of the guys and let him go on 1. So they dropped him on 1, and that look of terror on his face was real because he didn't know they were going to do that.
The Hitchcock method of getting good scared performances out of your actors.
Yeah, and Rickman actually in an appearance somewhere, he was retelling the story, and he said, of course, they were worried that maybe he would have gotten hurt on that stunt, but he said they were very careful to make it his last shot on the film.
Pretty sneaky.
Yeah. But yeah, there's really not a whole lot. There are a couple of goofs that were that have kind of become legendary with the movie. Like the main one was at the end of the movie when the ambulance comes out of the back of the truck that the robbers first show up in. The ambulance comes out, but then when they show the robbers coming out of the truck, there's no ambulance in the back, and that's because they started filming the movie without a finished script. So they hadn't figured out how they were going to get away. and so they were talking about like, oh God, well, how are we going to fix this? And John McTiernan, the director, is like, I don't care. It was basically as Critical Drinker would say, nah, it'll be fine.
Don't know.
And of course, the other aspect too of the movie was that McClane's barefoot, because when he's flying into LA, the guy sitting next to him on the plane tells him, hey, when you get home or wherever you get into, take your shoes off and then make fists with your toes on the carpet.
Right. It'll help you relax.
Right.
And of course, he shows up and his wife's angry at him. So he's of course stressed out. So he takes off his shoes just as the attack is happening.
Right. Yeah. So he's running around barefoot, and in the scene on the roof when he's ducking from the fire, you can actually see the little, like, in one of the shots, you can see the little bootsies that Bruce Willis was wearing when he was running around on the roof. But other than that, I mean, I can't. Those are just, I think, minor. Those are minor nitpicks. But
Yep. Like just little gaffes of production.
Yeah.
Now, turning to our actual star here.
Yeah.
So you were telling me before the show that initially everybody like booed when they saw that it was Bruce Willis in this movie because like they were kind of too used to him being in was it Moonlighters?
Yeah, Moonlighting. Yeah. He was. Moonlighting was for those of you who don't know, it was like a comedy drama show that was on in the 80s with him and Sybil Shepherd, and he was like the real sarcastic smartass, and and so like people associated him with Moonlighting, and not as a serious action hero like Schwarzenegger or Stallone or Norris or anybody like that. And so they played the trailer for the movie, and they laughed and then they booed, and so like a month before the movie came out, the studio panicked and they took Bruce Willis off of all of the posters and the marketing, and they just had the building for the poster.
Yeah, which is kind of hilarious considering that Bruce Willis became one of the most bankable action stars in Hollywood after this came out. But
oh yeah.
it's kind of like how every time somebody is announced as Batman, the world freaks out and is convinced they're going to be awful at it. Or at least for the Batman movies I've seen and recall strongly, the only really bad Batman we've had is George Clooney.
Yeah. Yeah, Ben Affleck was okay.
Ben Affleck didn't really get to do much. Or I should say, he didn't really get to play Batman. But then again, Henry Cavill didn't really get to play Superman. But that's neither here nor there.
Oh, yeah.
But Willis is great. I watched a Jester Bell video recently where she was talking about how it's like people have this idea of what an 80s action movie is. And they just assume that manly characters like from the period were just toxic and never showed emotion. And it's like, as she was pointing out, this movie is a great example of like, you don't actually watch these movies.
Yeah.
You're arguing with your phantom shadow boxing opinion of what those movies are like.
Right. Yeah.
Because dude shows the whole range. He's a smartass, but not in the Marvel humor sense where it completely deflates the action of the scene. It's just like, it's clear that it's how he's coping with the stress.
Yeah.
Instead of playing for the audience. It's like he's always like when he's scared, he's talking to himself in the same way.
Yeah.
There are dramatic scenes where at one point where Gruber is executing somebody like, for God's sake, tell him you don't know me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Old Ellis.
Yep. The yuppie is trying to negotiate his way out.
Yeah. Or the scene kind of near just before the third act when this is right after he meets Gruber and they shoot all the broken glass everywhere and he's picking the glass out of his foot and he's on the radio talking to Al Powell, who we haven't mentioned him.
No.
He's this LA beat cop who Willis manages to like get his attention to let him know that, hey, there's something bad going on in here. And so he talks to him on the radio and he's got this moment where he's talking to him and he says, oh, hey, tell my wife, I'm really sorry. And, she's the best thing that ever happened to a bum like me and all that stuff. And,
right. He's just convinced that it's the end. So
yeah.
Also, character Sergeant Al Powell, played by Reginald DeVell Johnson, who was also the dad on what was the Urkel show called again? It's been 20 years since I even thought of it.
Family Matters.
Family Matters. That's it.
Yeah.
When I first watched this movie, my buddy and I had this theory that it was the same character. He had just been relocated after that shooting incident.
Yeah.
And we further decided that the kid he had shot was actually Urkel.
Ooh. Yeah, I can see that.
No, he's great in this.
Yeah.
It's just such a smart movie too. Like I miss dialogue that doesn't just blatantly state the obvious.
Yeah.
Like or efficient dialogue is what I miss. Like just one line that occurred to me early on was that made me just go, oh, this movie is being efficient with its dialogue and setups. One of the women who is a hostage is pregnant. But they don't like, I feel like a modern Netflix style writing would have extended, because of course they're trying to fill time, would have extended this exchange and she would be like, oh, I'm going to go get me some wine, but you can't have wine. Aren't you pregnant? Yeah,
Yeah.
what'll the baby know? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like this dialogue was just like, I'm sure the little one could take one glass of wine.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Holly says, well, no, that baby's ready to tend bar.
Right. So you actually get like clever dialogue that works on multiple levels and sounds real. And it makes me annoyed with some movies and TV shows we've reviewed this year.
Yeah. Yeah. They treat the audience like they're stupid.
Or more accurately, they treat the audience like they're looking at a second screen while they're watching. Which I guess amounts to being stupid.
Yeah. Yeah. Low attention span. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, this movie is considered one of, if not the greatest action movie ever made, and that's, for a reason. And it redefined the genre too. I mean, it changed the prototypical action star, like it wasn't the Schwarzenegger Stallone guy anymore. It was actually like an everyman, and that's McClane. He's the everyman, before they turned him into like a superhero in the sequels. But but he was I would say probably more blue collar than other action stars. And of course, every movie had to copy the formula of this one.
Yeah, it's the problem when you have a good formula. Everybody wants in on that action.
Yeah, you had you have like Under Siege, which was Steven Seagal, that was Die Hard on a boat. You had Speed, Die Hard on a bus. You had two Die Hards on a plane with Wesley Snipes in Passenger 57 and Air Force One with Harrison Ford.
And then another one in Con Air, right?
Yeah, Con Air. Yeah.
Heck, even my own Magpie Wizard series, the fourth book's action scene could be interpreted as Die Hard at a Hogwarts.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. Yeah.
Fun little thing for those of you who have read my stuff. Originally, before I decided to make Maggie the primary villain, the first draft did have a Magneto-ish character named Nakatomi because, of course, Nakatomi Plaza. But I ended up deciding to write him out for efficiency's sake.
Yeah. Maybe he'll show up again in a later book.
Maybe, although kind of the Holy Brotherhood of Mankind has been nipped in the bud for the most part.
Oh, that's true. Yeah.
So I might just use the name elsewhere, but it wouldn't have quite the same humor to it.
Well, yeah. Yeah. Another one. That My Hero Academia movie.
Oh, you're right. Yeah. My Hero Academia, Die Hard had a secret superhero research center.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, this movie's on Hulu. I think it's on Amazon Prime as well.
I don't know if it's on Prime, but you can rent it on Prime for, or just buy it. I think it was like $5, and now I have a digital copy I can access anytime I feel like it. So
yeah,
I definitely got my money's worth off of that one.
Oh yeah. All right. Well, I think we've said all we need to say for tonight.
Indeed.
All right. Well, thank you everybody for tuning in. We appreciate it as always. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, ring the bell, buy some books, and we will see you at our regular day and time, which is Wednesdays at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific. So until then,
we're out of the holidays now.
Yes, we're past that. Yeah. Until then, good night, everybody.
And have a happy New Year.
Yes, Happy New Year.